Hello everybody, the lawn gnome is here. So when you hear these three names, Walt Disney, Steven Spielberg, and Roald Dahl, and you find out that all three of these names are linked to one brand new movie, well, I'm pretty certain, like myself, you just stop what you're doing, you get into your car and hightail it over to the nearest theater so you can go see the BFG, based on the Roald Dahl children's classic. Roald Dahl has become one of the biggest staples in literature, but also one of the biggest staples in film. There's the stop-motion animated James and the Giant Peach. There are two very well-done versions of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Of course, everyone's personal favorite and mine. The Gene Wilder's musical version from 1971. And the more recent Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, directed by Tim Burton and Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka himself in 2005. And how can you also forget Mara Wilson and Danny DeVito in Matilda? So now we have another major classic of Roald Dahl's in the BFG, and when I found out that Steven Spielberg was going to be directing this movie, I was very excited, because when you hear Steven Spielberg, you think of some of the greatest films of all time. But knowing me, I know for a solid fact that there have been a couple of missteps in Steven Spielberg's career over the last maybe 10 or 15 years. But don't get me wrong, there are still some great gems. He hasn't really done many kids' movies in a very long time, and if he has, they're very few and far between. There's also a fantastic cast, including Mark Rylance, who is basically a creation of Steven Spielberg's own making. I never would have imagined the performance that he gave us in Bridge of Spies last year that won him the Academy Award. You've also got Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords, and you've got newcomer Ruby Barnhill as the lead in the movie Sophie alongside the BFG. So I went to see it, and unfortunately I was very underwhelmed. I was really expecting a truly phenomenal fantasy filled with whimsy and beautiful supernatural elements. They were there. I was also expecting some very good and memorable characters. They were also there. So why did it end up missing the mark? Well, I kinda didn't enjoy the movie as a whole as far as the pace and the storytelling. The pacing of this story really doesn't help the film at all. You've seen the trailer, right? So you know exactly what happens. Sophie's talking in an inner monologue about the witching hour, and then all of a sudden a giant hand snatches her and takes her to his home. That is actually the first 10 minutes of this movie. I was like saying to myself, really? We're literally going right into it like this. There's no major prologue, there's no characters before Sophie and the BFG, like, what is going on here? And then there are points in time in the movie where it's fun to watch it. You're enjoying yourself. And then it gets dull. Oh, look, I'm having fun. This is whimsical. This is beautiful. The dreams and all that wonderful stuff. And then we get dull again. And then something completely bizarre happens. Even though there is a moment that Willy Wonka fans are going to absolutely love. If there are very few people in your theater, you will probably cheer and get up and go, yes, that is awesome! And then it just ends. That's all. There are some moments that make you laugh. There are some moments that make you very emotional. And there were points in time where I was just yawning because I just was wanting so much more from this movie, and I really didn't get it. The CGI is absolutely fantastic. These giants look like real people. Ruby Barnhill is such a delight to watch on screen. She has such adorable moments. And of course you've got a fantastic score from John Williams. To me, I think it may be one of my personal favorites of his, and that's pretty much the big standout part of the entire film. I don't really want to give much away, but that's basically how I feel. You just have to see this movie for yourself. I didn't hate the movie. It's a movie that I would not mind watching again, especially I'm with a curious party who does want to see it, but I don't want to own this movie at all. I just don't feel that it's worthy of my collection. It's not one of Steven Spielberg's strongest. At some point in time, it doesn't even feel like a Steven Spielberg movie. I really think that if you would have given this movie to maybe a Tim Burton or a Chris Columbus or even a Sean Levy, you probably would have gotten a much better movie. I just don't feel that this was a movie that Steven Spielberg should have taken. And I'm going to be giving the BFG 2.5 out of 4. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please put your comments in the box below, and let's have a conversation about the BFG. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.